Priceline works with top hotels to sell their unsold rooms, saving you up to 60%. Ah, yes, the parental delegation.
You should stay with us. It's no trouble.
It's no trouble for him.
Fine, don't stay with us.
I didn't really ask to. Okay. Priceline. Every trip is a big deal.
Hi, how can I help you? I'm sorry? You don't speak?
I don't need help.
Okay, can I ask what you're doing?
Recording.
Recording what?
I just out here.
Why?
I can't discuss it.
You can't explain it?
Can't discuss it.
Okay. Let me call my district office.
Not where I'm standing.
Yeah, but you're filming into here, and this is private property.
That doesn't make a difference.
Outside my back gate, recording into our facility.
So Darren told Karen, and Karen called her supervisor. Someone's on the phone with her now, I'm not sure who. She might be calling police over nothing. Karen, don't do that, Karen. Good, how are you?
Good. I'm Dawn Lawrence. Work
Okay.
for the school district.
Oh, thank Thanks.
Oh. I do the communications and emergency preparedness.
All right.
So as the public information officer, I just wondered if there's anything I can do to help you.
Nope, I told everyone I don't need help.
All right. Are you live around our community?
I can't answer any questions.
Oh, okay.
Have a good day.
Is that your vehicle?
That one? Possibly. Take a picture of it. Taking a picture of this random car.
Be opening up the gate? Yeah. I'll open it up for you. All right. She took a picture of the random car. That's funny.
Deputies on scene. These girls called them. Deputies on scene. They just showed up right here. This Karen took a picture of this car right here. She's like, "Is that yours?" And there they go. There they go.
How are you today?
Hey, doing good.
What you filming?
Everything.
Everything? You like our solar?
Looks cool.
Yeah? That's good for the community, isn't it?
Just keep your distance, man.
I'm just asking you what you're doing
I'm
filming our
just
facility
asking you
here.
to keep your distance, but if you don't want to do that, fine.
Keep my distance. Is there any reason you're filming our facility?
There is, yes.
Okay. You have permission to film our facility. You have permission, sir?
Yep.
By who?
The U.S. Constitution gave me permission.
I don't know about that. Hey, whatever you do, please don't step on our property. It's private property.
Get back to work, guy. Back to work there, fella. The cops just came and went. Cops just came and went. Didn't even bother to get out. They were here for like a minute. These fools called the cops. Wow. What's going on, everybody?
When you hear cough, cough, sneeze, sneeze, it's time for plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold Relief. Dissolves quickly, instantly ready to start working. So you can bounce back fast with Alka-Seltzer Plus. At any moment now.
We've got some breaking news now. We've just learned the world of musical theater has lost one of its most beloved stars, Stephen Sondheim. You might recognize that name as the person behind the music and lyrics of musicals like West Side Story and Sweeney Todd. His spokesperson says he died today at the age of 91 at his home in Connecticut. Ann Thompson has a look at his legacy.
Stephen Sondheim's most famous song was an unexpected hit.
Isn't it rich?
Judy Collins, then Frank Sinatra.
Send in the clowns.
Putting the words and music of Broadway's master into the pop firmament.
It's the right singer at the right time with the right material.
It was Sondheim who was right for his time.
Someone to make you come through, who'll always be there, as frightened as you of being alive.
Filling theaters with songs about the complex relationships between people.
I want you so. It's like I'm losing my mind.
And unusual subjects. A murderous barber.
A demon barber of Beach Street.
Presidential assassins. A 19th century French painter.
Look, I made a hat.
Stephen reinvented the American musical.
Presidential honors, 8 Tonys, a Pulitzer Prize, an Oscar. Sondheim's name permanently in lights on Broadway.
Something for everyone, a comedy tonight.
His work celebrated on stage and film and revered by Broadway's best.
I'm a Broadway baby.
Broadway baby, slaving at a 5 and 10.
Talent first nurtured by Oscar Hammerstein II, mentor, surrogate father, and lyricist of Oklahoma and South Pacific, who urged a reluctant Sondheim, then just 25, to write the words to Leonard Bernstein's music for West Side Story.
And he was the one who said, stop fetching, take the job, you write music later.
He didn't love his lyrics, with the least important words on the most important notes.
There's a place for it. So every time I hear it, I just think, oh, God.
I like to be in America.
But they would be his launching pad, doing the lyrics for Gypsy. Then his music and words for Company, Follies, and A Little Night Music. Compositions some complained you couldn't sing, as he acknowledged in 6 by Sondheim.
It's not a tune you can hum. There's not a tune you go bum, 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 dum.
I want to tell stories and write songs that make people laugh, cry, and have a good time and buy tickets.
Piece by piece, Stephen Sondheim put it together and left us a lifetime of art.
I'm still here.
Ann Thompson, NBC News, New York.
That is a wrap for us on this hour of Hallie Jackson Now. We'll be right back here with you, same time, same place, Monday. Have a great weekend.
Tonight, breaking news, a new highly transmissible COVID variant sparking fears around the globe. President Biden banning travel to South Africa and 7 other African countries after the WHO designated a new variant of concern. And questions swirling. Could the highly mutated strain be more resistant to vaccines and more contagious? The Omicron variant, first detected in South Africa, now confirmed in at least 7 countries. Fears of another COVID wave sending the markets tumbling. The Dow with its worst day of the year. Could this variant be headed to the U.S. next? Also tonight, Black Friday frenzy. Holiday shoppers out in full force. Many looking to avoid supply chain pitfalls by buying their gifts early. Retailers hoping to rebound after a disappointing 2020. Plus, reports of shots fired at a crowded mall. The late details just coming in. Frontline Hotshots, our team embedded with the special ops of firefighting in California, getting an up-close look at the grueling toll of this year's record-breaking fire season. Flash mob crime. Shoppers on edge after a string of stunning robberies, the latest at a luxury department store in California. While law enforcement says is driving this latest wave of crime. Plus, a takeover plot. The president of Ukraine accusing Russia of working with a Ukrainian billionaire to stage a coup. Tensions between the two countries reaching a boiling point as a buildup of Russian troops at Ukraine's border sparks international concern. And remembering a Broadway legend. Stephen Sondheim, credited for reinventing the American musical, has died at 91. The iconic composer and lyricist leaving an indelible mark on the Great White Way. We'll take a look at his life and legacy. Top Story starts now. And good evening, I'm Morgan Chesky in for Tom tonight. We begin Top Story with that troubling new variant first detected in South Africa. The World Health Organization calling an emergency meeting today, designating the new strain a variant of concern and assigning it the Greek letter Omicron. World leaders reacting swiftly to the news. President Biden late today announcing a ban on travel between the U.S. and 8 countries in Africa. Nations across Europe and Asia enacting similar restrictions. Health officials warning mutations in this new variant could make it highly transmissible, though there is no data to suggest it is any more deadly. Vaccine manufacturers now scrambling to test the effectiveness of their shots against this strain. And fears of yet another wave of COVID sending shockwaves through the financial world, too. Wall Street with one of the worst days of the year. Our Dr. Blackstone is standing by to break down what all of this means for you at home. But first, here's NBC national correspondent Gabe Gutierrez.
Tonight, concern over a new highly transmissible COVID variant first identified in South Africa is rippling across the globe. The White House imposing new restrictions on air travel from 8 countries starting on Monday. A World Health Organization panel has just named the strain Omicron and classified it as a variant of concern.
This variant has a large number of mutations, and some of these mutations have some worrying characteristics.
President Biden saying he was briefed by his COVID response team this morning.
We don't know a lot about the variant except that it is a great concern. It seems to spread rapidly.
Today, the WHO convened an emergency meeting but cautioned against an overreaction. Still, from Asia to Europe to the U.S., stocks tumbled. The Dow plunging more than 900 points.
You'll be waiting for the test results.
Passengers on this flight from South Africa were told of new restrictions before arriving in the Netherlands.
People are getting more and more anxious. They want to get tested. They want to go home. How long this is going to take, we don't know.
Today, Belgium was the first European nation to confirm a case. Around the world, a growing list of countries are now limiting travel from southern Africa. Though more study is needed, experts warn that Omicron might be more resistant to vaccines.
South African epidemiologists think that this is more transmissible than the Delta variant.
What is the likelihood that this variant is already in the U.S.?
It's already here. Unfortunately, we now know from previous variants that by the time we pick it up in Africa's and in the European Union, it is already likely.
All this comes as the U.S. just crossed another sobering milestone in the pandemic. More than 780,000 American lives lost. There's also a surge in new cases nationwide, an average of more than 90,000 new infections each day.
We are now bearing the brunt of delayed wave. Delta has really knocked us for a loop.
But on this Thanksgiving weekend, air travel is back to almost pre-pandemic levels. The TSA screening more than 2.3 million passengers on Wednesday.
This is our first plane, travel trip using an airline since the pandemic hit.
And Gabe Gutierrez joins us now. Gabe, I'm curious, what are vaccine manufacturers saying about this one?
Well, Morgan, Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J say that they're already testing their vaccines against this new variant. And Pfizer says it expects data back within 2 weeks, but its vaccine may require an adjustment if the variant continues to spread globally. Morgan.
All right, good to know, Gabe. Thank you. And for more on this new variant, Dr. Uche Blackstock joins us now. She's an NBC News medical contributor, an emergency physician, and the CEO of Advancing Health Equity. Dr. Blackstock, now that scientists have identified this variant here, when might we know how quickly it spreads and if it's more dangerous than the current variants that exist?
Hi, thank you so much for having me on tonight, Morgan. So essentially, we are going to have to see what happens over the next few weeks. There's going to be significant studies that need to be done within laboratory and analysis of real-life data of this new variant to see exactly, is it more transmissible? Is it more virulent, meaning does it cause more severe disease? And does it evade immunity, meaning will the vaccines be less effective against this particular variant?
Doctor, as Gabe said, the White House has announced some new travel restrictions today to try to stop the spread of Omicron. But do you think that it's already here in the United States?
Yeah, so unfortunately, we've seen in the past travel bans are not that effective, and unfortunately, by the time that we see this variant across the world, and we've seen it now identified in a number of countries on different continents, it likely is already here. It was picked up in South Africa because they really have an excellent genomic surveillance system there. We probably will ultimately see this variant here within the next few weeks.
Only a matter of time. And we know many people are going to be traveling this weekend after gathering with their loved ones for the holiday. How worried are you about a post-Thanksgiving surge in COVID cases?
Right. I think inevitably we are going to see that surge. The question is, how big will that surge be? And will vaccines, first-time vaccinations and boosters help to blunt that surge? People will have been indoors socializing, which we know is incredibly high risk. Eating, speaking with each other. And so again, increased risk for transmission. And so again, people should be encouraged to get tested 3 to 5 days after these gatherings to see if they do test positive. If they do, they should isolate and contact anyone else they've been around.
All right, good advice. Doctor, thanks for making time to join us. News of the Omicron variant shook the stock market today. The Dow dropping more than 900 points at its worst day of the year. The S&P 500 closing 2% lower as investors worry about yet another COVID surge. Caleb Silver joins us now, the editor-in-chief at Investopedia. Caleb, question here. Is the new variant what's driving today's losses, or is there more to this?
Well, investors have been climbing walls of worry for the past 6 months, whether it's inflation or the supply chain issues. But today was about the variant. This is the biggest drop we've had since July. You know what happened in July? The Delta variant. That's when the stock market fell 2%. So travel stocks, hotel stocks, cruise stocks, all getting really sold off hard today. But it was across the market, and oil falling 13% on the day alone.
Now, we say all the time the stock market is not the economy. A lot of people could be seeing this and be worried about their 401ks or other investments. When you look at what's taken place in the last 24 hours, how concerned are you about future market turbulence here?
Again, this is about how long this lasts and whether these vaccines are resistant against this. But we've had a lot of knee-jerk reactions. This felt like one of those today. We'll see what happens on Monday. Is there going to be buying on the dip? We didn't see that this afternoon. Are investors going to come back in and buy the dip because stocks fell a little more than 2% today? Or is this the beginning of a big downdraft? That remains to be seen. But it feels today like this is very much a knee-jerk reaction to the virus, to the new strain.
So for now, investors, be patient.
Be patient. You've had a pretty good year if you're a long-term investor, and when you have a big sell-off like today is not the time to sell your stocks.
Good point. Caleb, thanks so much. And we are following breaking news out of North Carolina on this Black Friday. A mall shooting that was reported late today. Police say 3 people, including a 10-year-old, were shot and another 3 were injured. All 6 were treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Police say people running from the streets were at South Point Mall. And on one of the busiest shopping days of the year, 1 person has been detained. Police tell us their investigation is ongoing. And we'll keep following that developing story. Meanwhile, in other Black Friday news, many shoppers searching for deals are looking online instead of heading into the stores. And with the supply chain in crisis, some are checking off their holiday gift lists early before it's too late. NBC News' Jolene King goes exclusively behind the scenes to see how one retail giant is handling one big rush.
With Black Friday stampedes slowing to a trickle this season, shoppers are spending big online.
Most of my shopping will probably be online.
Consumers shelled out $5.1 billion online on Thanksgiving Day, the same as last year. Another $9.6 billion expected online today. With the pandemic forever altering how consumers make their purchases, Best Buy is transforming how they utilize their massive stores. We got an exclusive look inside.
With the surge in online shopping, Best Buy renovated this store, reducing the sales floor size by more than half to make room for this new warehouse to try to meet customer demands.
I'd say it's a game changer. You never know what's here.
Best Buy Executive Vice President Damian Harmon says the same number of customers now shop online as in store. So the retailer is focusing on same-day and next-day shipping from new warehouses like this one.
It does move things faster because I'm in the neighborhood. It doesn't have to come from, somewhere 120 miles away.
In each fulfillment center, dozens of people pick and pack behind the scenes, part of a growing workforce that's largely invisible to the consumer, but essential to rapid delivery.
How much faster can you get orders to customers now?
I'd say 10 times faster because we're only focused on taking care of the customer that's in my hand. We have multiple customers are in my hand and getting that product out the back door as quickly as possible.
But with major bottlenecks in the supply chain, it's still on the shopper to figure out how to score this season's hottest gifts, like a PlayStation 5 or Xbox.
Will there be enough gaming consoles for everyone who wants one for the holidays?
I think that's going to be difficult no matter how it plays out because everybody wants them.
A race to shop and deliver before time runs out.
And Jolene King joins us now live. Joe, I'm curious, if what you want is sold out, are you just totally out of luck here?
You know what? You could be out of luck. You also could go and pursue plan B or plan C. A lot of the retailers telling me that you really need to act early, especially if your item is popular. It could very well be stuck on a container ship, right? So the key here is if you're ordering online, be sure to check out that estimated delivery date because if
Welcome to this world. You have some big shoes to fill. Lots of new introductions.
4 ounces.
So many new toys. It's not going to be easy, but together we got this. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive.
All right, fam, the George Floyd Justice Act is dead because Senator Tim Scott, Senator Cory Booker, as well as Congresswoman Karen Bass, they couldn't come to an agreement. Scott spent lots of time on the Sunday shows, Fox News, Face the Nation, blasting Democrats, saying it's their fault. They walked away. So here's what he said on Face the Nation, talking to Margaret Brennan. He was talking about who caused the problem. Who caused the problem? And it was interesting because we played this 2-minute clip yesterday. And the reason I thought it was very interesting as he was talking to them, because he was real clear. It was they were sitting here and they were trying to defund the police, and they were just wrong, and how dare they, and it was their fault. And then it was Senator Cory Booker. They walked away from the table twice. I mean, he was saying all of those things. Really? Is that what really happened? So here's what we played yesterday. I want you to watch this, but I want you to listen. Okay? Listen to this.
Cory Booker, who was your partner in this.
Yes.
I mean, this started under the Trump administration. It continued under the Biden administration.
Exactly.
When Republicans in control went nowhere, Democrats in control, it's going nowhere.
But both times, the folks that left the table were the Democrats. Let's just be clear that we have stayed at the table. The Justice Act provided clear direction to improve the quality of the experience for the communities at risk and the law enforcement officers who patrol those areas.
So if you're still at the table, was the issue that you just couldn't deliver Republican votes?
Absolutely not.
What Senator Booker proposed to you with what he has described as this compromise?
Once again, the fact is that last time around, we gave them 20 amendments to change the bill in any way they wanted to. This time, we said simply this: I am not going to participate in reducing funding for the police after we saw major city after major city defund the police. Many provisions in this bill that he wanted me to agree to limited or reduced funding for the police. That's a lose. That's a lose proposition. When you reduce funding for police, you actually lose lives in the communities. Our approach was a win-win approach. We want the best wearing the badge, and we want the vulnerable protected. So when you tie funding losses in this legislation, you should expect an allergic reaction from me.
But they would say, and Senator Booker's team has said publicly in interviews he's done, that there wasn't a net loss of funding. In fact, there was funding being increased in terms of increased mental health funding specifically, that there were specific programs for recruitment and training funding increases, body-worn camera funding increases, data collection.
Yes.
So that's not cutting funding. It's might be allocating it in different ways.
Actually, here's what we know. We have about $1 billion in grant money that goes to police. When you start saying in order to receive those dollars, you must do A, B, and C, and if you don't do A, B, and C, you literally lose eligibility for the two major pots of money, the burn grants and the COP grants. When you tell local law enforcement agencies that you are ineligible for money, that's defunding the police. There's no way to spin that. You can spin it by saying—
But this would codify the Trump executive orders.
Let me finish. The Trump executive order, I actually agreed to. What I did not agree to was the cuts that come from non-compliance.
Okay. So he said, I did not agree to the cuts of non-compliance. But did he remember what came out of his mouth a year ago when he was talking to Judy Woodruff on PBS? Roll it.
Thank you so much for joining us. I want to ask you first about some of the Democrats' reaction. They are saying, yes, this is a move in the right direction, but the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said today that it doesn't rise to the moment. We heard House Speaker Nancy Pelosi say it's inadequate. Do you think you will be able to get enough Democratic votes to get this to a debate and a vote on the Senate floor?
Well, if we do not, then they'll have to explain to the families that I met with yesterday at the White House and the families that I met with yesterday in my office on why we're not willing to take seriously some of the changes that are important to those families who've lost loved ones because of the police interaction. This bill, modeled after much of the House bill, is an important step in the right direction. It also includes the focus of the president and the priorities in the executive order. So we have a chance to do something meaningful for the American people, especially communities of color who are losing confidence in the institutions of authority in this country.
Well, Senator, as you know, Democrats are calling for an outright ban on certain measures like a chokehold or the so-called no-knock warrant.
Yes.
In your proposal, you are saying these things should be tied to federal funding, that if departments go ahead with them, they risk losing funding. And yet you also said today that this is something that should be debated. The chokehold should be debated for the American people to hear. So it sounds like you're open to a complete ban on a chokehold. Is that right?
Well, I would say it this way. My legislation gets us to the position where if you are a law enforcement department that does not already have a ban on chokeholds, you do not have access to the federal funding. The House bill does not have the ability to actually, in my opinion, ban chokeholds. What they do is they defund states' revenue streams from the federal government. It's kind of the same thing, to be honest with you. The fact of the matter is that policing is a local government decision, not a federal decision. So I'd love to see how the Democrats thread that needle from federalism and the local department's ability to make the decisions. We do that through the refusing to give them the grant dollars. The White House, in their executive order, does the exact same thing through a certification process. So all three levers of government have the same objective. I think we get there if we keep working together, looking for a solution.
So I hear a little bit
Wait. He just said that if y'all don't have it in place, you can't access the federal money. He then said there's a certification process. So if y'all don't go through it, y'all don't get the money. Is that not what he criticized a year later on Face the Nation? When he said that, oh, they trying to defund. I'm sorry, Tim. I just want to be clear. Did I hear you say this? Be clear. Did I hear you say this?
Increases, body-worn camera funding increases, data collection.
Yes.
So that's not cutting funding. It's might be allocating it in different ways.
Actually, here's what we know. We have about $1 billion in grant money that goes to police. When you start saying in order to receive those dollars, you must do A, B, and C, and if you don't do A, B, and C, you literally lose eligibility for the two major pots of money, the burn grants and the COP grants. When you tell local law enforcement agencies that you are ineligible for money, that's defunding the police.
Hold up, okay. I need y'all to roll that clip from Judy Woodruff back about 45 seconds. Roll it back 45 seconds, and then I want y'all to hear what Tim Scott said a year ago to Judy Woodruff. Press play.
Is a defund states' revenue streams from the federal government. It's kind of the same thing, to be honest with you. The fact of the matter is that policing is a local government decision, not a federal decision. So Democrats thread that new federal funding. Enforcement department that does not.
Debated. The chokehold should be debated for the American people to hear. So it's
guys, put it on pause. Go back 30 to 45 seconds. See, folks, This is what happens when you forget your last lie and then you go on TV with a new lie. He literally said to Judy Woodruff that if you do not do these things that we stipulate by the federal government, you're not going to have access to the money. He literally said in the Trump executive order, there's a certification process. Y'all, a certification process means if you're not certified, you don't get the money. Press play.
And yet you also said today that this is something that should be debated. The chokehold should be debated for the American people to hear. So it sounds like you're open to a complete ban on a chokehold. Is that right?
Well, I would say it this way. My legislation gets us to the position where if you are a law enforcement department that does not already have a ban on chokeholds, you do not have access to the federal funding.
Stop, pause. So if you do not have a policy already banning chokeholds, you can't get the money. That's the same thing he criticized. Press play.
Does not have the ability to actually, in my opinion, ban chokeholds. What they do is they defund states' revenue streams from the federal government. It's kind of the same thing, to be honest with you. The fact of the matter is that policing is a local government decision, not a federal decision. So I'd love to see how the Democrats thread that needle from federalism and the local department's ability to make the decisions. We do that through the refusing to give them the grant dollars. The White House, in their executive order, does the exact same thing.
Stop! We do that by refusing to give them the grant dollars. Is that not defund? He then said the Trump White House does the same thing with their executive order. The executive order he helped write, that he supported. Press play.
Certification process. So all three levers of government have the same objective. I think we get there if we keep working together, looking for a solution.
So I hear a little bit of give in your position, but let me also ask you about this concept, legal concept, qualified immunity.
Stop. See, now, see, again, this is what happens when you lie. Today, this statement came out. Largest